1.4 Sustainability Part 2. So as we saw in Part 1, environmental indicators and ecological footprints can be used to assess sustainability. We looked at indicators in Part 1. Now we're going to look at ecological footprints. And an ecological footprint, as you can see here, assesses how much carbon, forest, cropland, built-up land, fishing grounds, grazing land is impacted by the individual activities of a country or multiple peoples, and it's measured in global hectares, which is more a concept rather than actual space. We're going to come back to ecological footprint. Now we're going to look at an environmental impact assessment. There's an awful lot going on this slide. I direct you up to the upper right-hand corner. What's an environmental assessment? In terms of the British Columbian Environmental Act, they look at 5 pillars, which includes health, the environment, cost, social, and then they go through a total of 9 steps. But the important thing to remember here is that an environmental impact assessment, an EIA, assesses the potential impact so decisions and choices may be made. And in particular for ESS, we're looking at the EIA for the ecological impact. So let's break down the steps here. So we can see here it's a decision-making tool. It aims to identify and evaluate potential impact of the project, looking at 5 different categories of values, all of which are important. And it's required by law in British Columbia. Nova Scotia has similar laws. We can see there's a project announcement in 1, and do we need an environmental assessment? Then there's looking up, setting up a working group, First Nations, government agencies. Then next, what needs to be studied to evaluate the potential impact? So what kind of a development is this? What scale? That kind of stuff needs to be done, just like you would with your IA. Next, they look at the potential impacts of the project on those 5 pillars. Again, we're looking at a study of the EA, and is the study complete or not? If it's not complete, you go back and continue more work. If it's determined to be complete, then you go forward to government and stakeholders, preview and look at the study. And then the final layer, we're looking at 7, 8, and 9. Government approves or rejects the project. There'll be environmental ministers involved. There'll be permits issued in number 8. And then finally, number 9, because this is ongoing, they'll be monitoring what's happened. The environmental impact assessment can also be used as a baseline study so you can see what changes are occurring or not occurring. So overall, now you can see all the steps from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, where we get the permitting, the allowing to develop, and then 9 is the ongoing supervision. And that's the idea of an EIA. But remember, the big point is it assesses the potential impacts so decisions and choices can be made. Now, here's a significant idea for this slide. Environmental impact assessments play an important role in sustainable development. And you can start to see what's going on here. You can see in terms of the Mackenzie Valley Environmental Impact Review Board runs public review period. We can see there's review board findings. Review board can approve or not approve the potential development. The ministers are involved. So this is quite a complicated flow chart, but can show you how the government is watching over the environment and how it's mandated. Now, as we go to the next slide, we can see that sustainability is the use and management of resources that allows for full natural replacement of the resources exploited and full recovery of the ecosystem affected by their extraction and use. So we're not extracting, say, strip mining and coal and destroying an environment and the water courses. Instead, we may be extracting the mineral resources, but making sure the environment is returned to its natural state or never disturbed at all. Now, natural resources are the raw materials supplied by nature. People manufacture goods and services from these raw materials. So an example might be that we extract oil from the ground, refine it, turn it into something we can use. We could also use water for both energy production and for drinking water. Now, in terms of renewable resources, those are all over here, but they're also here in the water. Oil is not renewable, even though it's naturally produced, not renewable. Forests are renewable, rocks, not renewable. So renewable resources are able to replace or restock themselves by growing or just by replenishment, such as water. Non-renewable resources exist in finite amounts in the earth and can be used up. Now, renewable resources can be used in a non-sustainable manner, and then they also become non-renewable. That would be, for example, if these forests if there's too much deforestation, or what's occurring in the tropical rainforest occurs where the cutting down the forest means it can't really come back.